Hi friends, Alicia Latrice here. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I will be doing a IVF Q&A. So I'm taking the top 10 trending questions that you guys have for me and will be answering them and giving you the nitty-gritty all right here. So make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you are alerted every time I post a new video, and stay tuned for more. Alrighty friends, so jumping into the first question, and this first question was a hot commodity. This question came up more than any other questions that I received. So I thought it would be great to do this question first. So the first question is, if I can find it, I don't know what I just did with it. Here we are. Do you know the gender of the baby and when will you find out? So I do know the gender of all my embryos. Back when I did the egg retrieval during the IVF journey, I sent my embryos for PGS testing, and this is where they were tested for any chromosomal abnormalities and to ensure that they were normal embryos and none of them were abnormal. And a part of that, which I love science because of this, is I know the genders of my embryos. So I have 3 little boys and I have 4 little gals, and I was giving the opportunity to choose which embryo I wanted to transfer. And so what I did was I wanted to transfer the best embryo out of all 7. Mind you, all of the embryos are great, but I wanted the top graded embryo to be transferred first. And because I transferred that top graded embryo, it implanted on my first ever transfer cycle that I had within IVF. And I will be doing a gender reveal this upcoming Saturday. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel and your alerts are on so we can celebrate the reveal of the baby. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty, question number 2. So this, and I'm doing the questions in order of popularity of how I receive them. So this next question is, in the first few weeks of your pregnancy, what things did you feel before knowing that you were pregnant? Wow. So I definitely would say I was I would say that my symptoms started happening around day 3 after transfer. And this consisted of mild to severe cramping. It felt like I was on my menstrual cycle, but not too tedious. But it was constant cramping. The cramping would get more aggressive at nighttime. I had frequent urination. I was going to the restroom maybe every 10 minutes, and it was even worse in my sleep. Throughout the night, I would get up 3 to 4 times just to go to the restroom. The next symptom I experienced in the first few weeks of pregnancy is I was extremely tired. All I wanted to do was lay in bed. Even if I wasn't sleeping, I was just physically exhausted, and I just felt like I didn't have the energy to do anything. I had no energy to cook, to clean, to just like do any of the hobbies I like to do. I just wanted to be left alone and I wanted to sleep. And the 4th symptom that I had during my 2-week wait before I found out I was pregnant is increased appetite. I wanted to eat everything in sight. I was craving everything. I wanted everything. Believe it or not, during my 2-week wait, I think I had a seafood boil every other day. And now that I am 11 weeks pregnant, you can't pay me to go get any seafood because my stomach is like, hell no. So the 4 symptoms were the cramping, increased urination, extreme fatigue, and increased appetite. Okie dokie. So question number 3 is, how thick was your uterine lining for embryo transfer? So my uterine lining was a 9.4 for my frozen embryo transfer. And that was thick as hell, guys, because throughout my IVF journey, my uterine lining thickness was around 7.7. So there were a few different things that I implemented into my daily routine that assisted me with getting that uterine to thicken just for transfer. So if you want to learn more, I have links above the video where I share those tips of how I successfully prepared for my frozen embryo transfer cycle. So make sure you go back and watch that video if you had not. But that uterine lining was a 9.4. Okay, so question number 4. I sometimes see little ones in your pics. Are they yours? So no, you will see me post my niece and my nephew in my pictures and my stories. My niece, her name is Paris. She is 2 years old. And my nephew, his name is Sebastian, and he's 1 year old. My sister is completing basic training in AIT. She's been gone since August, and she'll be completed with the entire process March of next year. So right now I am caring for those little ones. You may think I'm their mom. They call me mama all the time, but I am their aunt. I actually have no kids, and this is my first pregnancy. So I'm excited about it, but no, that's my niece and my nephew. Alrighty, we are halfway there, friends. Question number 5. Any baby names picked out? Have you started shopping yet? I am so embarrassed to say this, but before I even started the IVF journey, I had 22 girl names picked out and then 34 boy names picked out. In addition to that, I started shopping for baby clothes, baby just tub items, onesies, cloths, wipes, like anything you can think of, I started purchasing with not even knowing if my first cycle was going to be successful or if I'm having a boy or a girl. So most of the things I purchased so far are gender neutral items, but sad to say, I started shopping way before I even had my transfer. And that was just a way for me to manifest what I want. I really spoke this pregnancy into existence, and in my day-to-day, I acted as though I was already pregnant and, I'm shopping for a baby and I'm doing all these things. So when I do find out in the gender reveal if I'm having a boy or a girl, I'll be well prepared with a baby name because I have my top girl name and I have my top boy name. And I have tons of baby gear already. And it's like, this is my weekend routine now. Just because a lot of our city is still on lockdown. On Friday or Saturday, I typically go to the mall so I can shop just for the baby. And that's very therapeutic for me. It gets me out the house. And yeah, so I do have baby names picked out, as well as I started shopping for baby well in advance. So question number 6 is, was it hard picking a sperm donor? I am long overdue to give you guys that video, but I'm doing a separate video just on the sperm donor process in its entirety. But to make a long answer short, it was very difficult for me to look for a sperm donor, and that's because you have tons, like hundreds of cryobanks that you can use domestically and internationally. A lot of these cryobanks make you pay for a membership that's like always $150 plus to see a full profile of a sperm donor. Lots of the websites don't offer photos, or some websites only offer baby photos. So it's very, very tedious, and it had taken me 3 weeks to find the perfect sperm donor. And once I found him, I just knew it was a perfect match because we had so much in common. Like, his profile really stood out to me as someone that, if it were a dating website, that he would be someone that I would aspire to date and build a future with. So it was very, very difficult picking a sperm donor with all the resources that's out there, with the limited information on each sperm donor. It was quite interesting. Question number 7. How old are you and what state are you in? So I am 29 years old and I live in Katy, Texas. I just turned 29 in August. I'm a Virgo, so hey y'all to all my Virgos. And I just relocated from Portland, Oregon, where I was living the past 2 years for work. And now I'm back in Texas, closer to my family, so I can help care for my niece and nephew while my sister pursues her dream of joining the Army. So that's who I am, and that's how old I am. So question number 8 is, are you excited? I am over the moon. You have no idea how long I've aspired to become a mom. This is something I dreamed about even growing up. I would love to take care of my little cousins, and I was just always in awe of women who were pregnant, and it's just something I know I'm destined to be, is to become a mother. And I'm excited to finally have that opportunity to be a mom, to have my bloodline finally here. And I think that although I'm excited to go shopping, to, do the nursery, to remember all of the nursery rhymes and get all the kids books and do all these fun things, I am equally scared. Like, with excitement comes fear. I have fear of having a miscarriage. I have fear of going to a doctor's appointment and there's no longer a heartbeat. I have fear of all the pregnancy complications that could arise for me because of my health and my previous health mishaps. So with that excitement, I am over the moon for this pregnancy. However, I am equally frightened of the unknown, basically, of what may happen and what's to come. But I am overjoyed and my heart is extremely full because this has been something I wanted for a lifetime. But when I really started to put action behind it in 2011, we're in 2020. It's about to be 2021. So I am over the moon, and it was well worth the wait, the hiccups, and the injections along the way. So question number 9 is, how long do you have to take shots before you're even pregnant? So if you're going through a full round of IVF, you start doing injections during the stimulation phase. So while you're going through the stimulation phase and you're injecting yourself with all the hormones and you're getting your eggs to grow at rapid speed, you'll do those injections between 12 to 14 days, depending on how fast your body is producing the eggs and if the eggs are very mature or not. So you'll do injections for at least 12 to 14 consistent days. Then after that, you won't do any injections. You will allow your body to detox the hormones and you'll wait for your next menstrual cycle to start. And so once your next menstrual cycle starts and then stops is when you start, if it's part of your protocol, because all protocols are different. So for my protocol, I had estradiol patches that I placed on my lower abdomen, and I took progesterone and oil injections. Some doctors recommend, and it's also known as PO, some doctors recommend PO in a vaginal, like a suppository form. So it depends on your doctor and their protocol. But I started doing those injections 5 days before transfer, and I ended up having to do those injections in my buttocks until I was 10 weeks pregnant. So I literally just stopped those injections last week. So some doctors, depending on how your body's doing, depending on how your uterus is doing, you may stay on that PO injection up until you are 12 weeks pregnant, but I stopped at 10 weeks. And it was pretty brutal, and it felt like forever I was doing those injections, but well worth it. And I would do it 1,000 times again. So that's kind of the lay of the land of what the injections will look like. But it also depends on your unique protocol that's best fit for you, that your doctor gives you. We've made it to the final question. So question number 10, friends, is what made you do IVF? So this is like $1,000 question, and I decided to do IVF because I battle with severe PCOS. I go a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years at a time without having a menstrual cycle. And this has been going on since after I stopped taking the Depo birth control shot in high school. And I've just kind of been irregular since. I just go these extensive amount of times without having a period. In the past 2 years, I have been working with my OBGYN on medications and different things to help regulate my menstrual cycle. And all of those things fail. I would continue, instead of going maybe the year and a half to 2 years at a time, I would go a year, maybe even 8 months at a time without having a menstrual cycle. And as you know, you have to be ovulating and having regular menstrual cycles to successfully conceive, and that was just not the case for me. So I did consider doing IUI or even at-home insemination, but it would have been a waste of money for me because it was very, very low, like slim to no success rate at all for me. And I had to come to terms with that when I reviewed that information with my doctor, and then that's when we started discussing IVF. And so I started doing research and financially preparing myself for IVF a year before I started my journey, just because it was information overload, and it's a pricey fertility treatment that most people just don't have that kind of money laying around. So I ended up having to do IVF just because of the severe PCOS, all the battle with the cysts on my ovaries, and really just the headache and just kind of unsuccessfulness of not being able to regulate my period. So that's why I decided, and we moved forward with IVF. Thank you, friends, for watching this IVF Q&A with me. Please know that I received over 500 questions, and I am more than happy to do a part 2 to this. So if there are any questions that I did not sum up throughout the trending top 10, please leave those in the comment area, and I'll be more than happy to do a part 2 to ensure that I answer any questions that you guys may have for me. Also, my gender reveal is scheduled for this upcoming Saturday, which is Halloween. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and you are tuned in to celebrate whether I am having a boy or a girl. And also, if you're going through IVF or you're thinking about it, or you have any friends, please send them to how I prepare for my frozen embryo transfer, as well as how much IVF costs me. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you this weekend for a spooky gender reveal.